Abalone here. Welcome to my newest episode of People I Know, Like, and Trust. And I am so thrilled to have with me Kelly Brown. Kelly.
Hi, Diane. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here with me. I'm so excited for our conversation. Kelly is the owner of Inner Light in Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania on Beverly Road. It is a wonderful shop. We're sitting there now and we have some of her beautiful artwork here. She is a spiritual artist. And that's really how I come to know her. That is like such a beautiful explanation of her, because she does these amazing artwork that really comes from her spirit. Her store is beautiful with so many inspirational, exciting things, so many great books. She also is a Qigong master and a Reiki master, and has just taught me so much about mind, body, spirit. Because how it all came to be is one of my friends had said, let's go to a sound bath. And I was like, okay, I'm down, but what is a sound bath? And then, so I was exposed to that. And then we did a drum circle, and that was like so awesome. And then I was introduced to Qigong and took a couple of Qigong classes, and I was totally hooked. And it was, what's so funny is that in my meditation time and in my prayer time, I was always thinking in terms of the words that came up for me a lot were rooted, release, restore. And those are the things that it was like, oh my God, it's all connecting. The mind, body, and spirit all connected. Like the body part was missing, because I feel like what's happening now, and I'll let you talk in a minute. I'm just rattling on it, but I just want to make the connection. We're just, especially for me, like I've been so caught up in my head and in my thoughts. And then you might get down to like your spirit, but then you sort of like throw your body out with the bathwater. Like your body isn't a part of you. And it's almost like, if you have the feelings in your body, then you must need medication, or, maybe it's because you're sick. Or maybe it's because of, who knows what, like just stay up in here and think about things. And I just had a feeling that wasn't exactly right. But then I met Kelly and, came to her store, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's all interconnected. So I can't wait to hear what you have to say. First of all, let's just have you talk a little bit about, like, introduce yourself, and then talk about like how you got into Qigong and what it is. Because I know I tell a lot of friends that I do that, and they're like, huh, what is that? So
I'm married to a Frenchman and have two daughters who were both born in France. And upon moving back to America in 2015, I had lived 15 years abroad in France. And coming back, my central nervous system took a real beating. France is a much slower lifestyle. And I thought after 15 years, I certainly wouldn't be seduced by the fast pace of America, which I had left in 2000. But in fact, kind of got swooped up into the speed of America. And with coming back to some aging parents, I also was challenged with taking care of them and opening up a new business and raising the girls. So there was a lot on my plate. And with that, my central nervous system took a beating, and I started getting chronic heartburn. Mm-hmm. And I had tried all sorts of eliminate this food, add this food, try this supplement, take away this supplement, and nothing seemed to be working. And what I found was Qigong. Now I had studied Qigong, but from a very kind of unusual entrance in to Qigong back in my 20s, where I studied the phenomena of energy. So my teacher was teaching about energy phenomena, but wasn't teaching the physical movement of Qigong.
Oh, interesting.
So when I discovered my teacher's videos online, it made complete sense to me, because it was a marriage of what I already intuitively knew from the energy aspect, but incorporating the movement.
Okay.
And I've been a dancer since I was 3 years old. And as a dancer of 3, movement felt much better to me than just being still with meditation. So as I started doing these videos, I started realizing that the heartburn was getting better. And that's when, after doing them for about a year and a half, I started to go into the teacher training program of my teacher, who is synthesizing a lot of different practices of Qigong and making one syllabus, which is a huge feat unto itself. And that enabled me to keep teaching, because I've taught dance for 10 years, and this was a generation of a different type of movement. So the idea behind Qigong is that through very focused, gentle movement, you can find peace and stillness in the quiet of the subtle world, which is a very calm and peaceful world, antithesis to what we have today, right?
For sure.
Yeah, life is busy and life is throwing a lot at us. So this is a way in which we can honor a slower paced life and honor our bodies and communicate with our bodies, because really our bodies are our best friend. And that when we have a tweak or a torque or an itch, a sneeze, a cough, or a pain, those actually have deeper meanings. And yeah, and that's what Qigong allows us to start to peel back and start to understand what those aspects of ourselves are trying to teach us.
I love that. So tell me about what you mean by energy.
So energy is a really big word, and all different cultures have their interpretation of it. And with traditional Chinese medicine, which is where Qigong falls under, they call it Qi. The Hindus would call it prana. Here in the West, we call it energy. And that can be something as physical as sunlight or water energy, electricity, but the aspects that generate that kind of energy exist within our body. So we have light within, we have water within, and we can physically generate the mechanical with our appendages. So when we do that, we can use our bodies as electromagnetic, literally a battery. We can supercharge our own self in order to supply ourselves with the ability to do more in life with less output, if that makes any sense, right? And also to honor the appreciation of that. So in Qigong, they say that building Qi energy within the body allows the body to have more vitality and longevity. So vitality and longevity are aspects of energy.
Okay.
Does that
Yeah. No, I'm just,
energy is a big word to be
It
able to
is.
describe a lot of are you feeling tired? Well, tired is an aspect of energy. Joy is an aspect of energy. Love is an aspect of energy. Hate is an aspect of energy. Really, all of our emotions are some form of energy. And by learning how to cultivate it and use it, because a lot of martial arts will use the aggressive yang energy, but it's skilled. So, when they throw like a punch, it's a skilled anger that they're throwing. They're not throwing like how we throw our words around, an unskilled form of anger, right?
It's because I feel like, I know just from my experience with it, when, I can be like super charged up or stressful, and I've been practicing like every morning now,
Mhm.
and just taking like 15 minutes of just even like just moving my body, maybe listening to certain types of music and just expressing myself. And I literally feel like I have better posture. I'm like can stretch out more. I just feel more like elongated. So that's beautiful. But I could wake up with maybe like, I got so much to do today. What am I gonna And my brain is like, go, 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 go. And then I'll do Qigong. And I am like a totally different person.
Yeah, it drops you in.
So yeah.
It drops
so
you in, and it helps with clarity of mind. It helps with making everything. It's like it puts everything in slow motion. So when life comes at you quickly, it comes at you when you're in a balanced state of the electromagnetics or the yin and the yang. When you're at a balanced state, no matter how fast something comes in, it's like Doctor Strange in some of these movies. It's like you can just pick it and be like, no, yes,
yeah.
yes.
It
It allows more distance and the speed of life to not become overwhelming.
Well, I know that even like you were saying about the energy of words, I know like with my mortgage business, I will have, people, it's a very heightened state for people to purchase homes and, talking about their money and their finances. And so I literally feel like sometimes I just take that like the energy of their chaos. And I just sort of like take it and just like, okay, I'll give this back to them. And I'm still like a loving person, but I feel like I am like I'm walking on water in the storm when I'm at the heightened state of just being like at peace with this. It's just like, okay, these things can just sort of like fall away and I can just be like breathe and centered. And that's the thing, like how come we don't learn this in school? Like they should teach, little kids, like you're allowed to fidget.
Right.
You're allowed, like, let's learn to take deep breaths and like learn how to use your breath when you're in kindergarten.
Right. And if everyone says today, if you say take a deep breath, everybody goes, and that's like absolutely the worst thing you should be doing. Your belly should be going out on a deep breath, and you should be expanding the balloon of your abdomen in all directions. It shouldn't be going up. In fact, when we breathe from our upper chest, that's when we're in a state of anxiety. That's when we're in shallow breathing. We need to drop it down and go into the lower diaphragmatic breathing.
Well, and just, like here we are, you have like this systematic way of like how we're taught, like women are supposed to be thin and have a very small waist and just, and so how could we possibly breathe with pushing our stomach out? We don't want to look fat.
Right.
It's like such distorted,
Right.
way of thinking. It's like, no, but when I learned to do that too is just so huge it just helps just taking a few breaths that way.
Right. And that is
So
tying
healing.
into the autonomic nervous system,
Mhm.
right? So that's our central nervous system, and that's an essential part of one, ridding ourselves of toxins, as well as having a good vagal tone, which I don't know if we want to get into any of that today or not, but having a good vagal tone allows us to combat anxiety and stress. And that's actually everybody's superpower, which nobody, unfortunately, it's starting to become known, the vagus nerve or vagus nerve, however you, it's tomato, tomato, right? They're starting to hear about that, but it's such an essential part of our bodies. It is literally our superpower. And it can either, kind of create the demon or it can create the angel based on what system it employs. There is a time and a place for when we go into the vagus nerve where it goes into the fight or flight, where we're going to need that. But the problem today is fight or flight is essential when, like maybe you're in a car accident or you're combating something in war, or there's a giant beast running after you that, you're trying to catch your meal. But in today's day and age, we don't have to have that kind of extreme adrenaline, yet everything is very adrenaline based. The other side of this vagus nerve is the rest and digest. And in humanity, where we are today, is that's what needs to come up. And all this chaos and all of the drama and all of the hyper media of everything is breaking news, that all has to come down. And we need to start to honor the subtle, the quiet, the rest and digest. And that's what Qigong basically does for you.
Well, okay, so now I'm sure everybody's curious. So tell us about the vagal or
The vagus nerve. So,
yeah.
so it's a nerve that's like behind the ear, and it goes down back behind the throat, down into like the thymus area. And once it hits in the thymus area, like magic, it goes to every single vital organ. So
Kind of important.
it's super important, right? And it's either sending us signals of like, oh, what do I got to do next? I got to do next, you know, like the super triple A personality type. It's like do. Or it goes to all of those organs and it's like, okay, it's all right. Everything's going to be fine. I'm going to go with the flow of life. Yes, this is coming at me, but I can handle it. I'm going to take it one thing at a time and I can handle it. So it can choose one way or the other. It can go super adrenaline based or it can go rest and digest based. And we have the ability to control that. That's the exciting thing.
Wow.
Is we all have the ability to tap into that superpower that we all have. And there's lots of techniques to do it. Qigong is one way. There's lots of other ways in, but Qigong is one way.
Well, I mean, it says in so many, probably religious, but I just know from the Bible, it talks about be still and know.
Right.
You know, so it's like I just keep coming back to that, like, okay, the more that I'm still, the more that I know, the more that I get a ping to go this direction or go that direction. And even is it possible, Kelly, that you could even, once you're in like this superpower state of just being like, you know, in balance with, can you attract things to you just because of how you're showing up in the world?
For sure. Being in the flow of life and being in the flow and the zen of our world. Yes. I mean, that'll open up a whole other conversation about quantum energy. We could talk about forever, but yes, most certainly. When we're in the flow, we can certainly attract that which we desire. I'm very specific about how that we want to do that because I do believe in honoring free will of every being, every sentient being. And that's just a little point of contention that I have with the whole manifesting today, because I don't think that enough conversation is given to free will. Because you don't want to exercise that free will over somebody else or
this
over
guy to be my husband.
Yeah.
Nobody else. Yeah. That's
no, that starts to play around and that's no. But what we do is we put ourselves out there, even in prayer, and is my belief too. We don't put a prayer onto somebody, but we put a prayer in the field. So it becomes more like I'm holding the space of love. Should that person be willing to come and receive it? So it's still their choice to go out and reach for that. But we're completely enveloping the person with that love. So it becomes easier for them to reach out for it. So there's more of it in their field, if that makes sense.
No, it does. And, you know, the whole ask and you will receive. And it's like, and sometimes our prayers are probably so limited that, you know, that there's even better, even greater, you know, so just being, and I feel like Qigong just helps to be open to that instead of being in that.
Oh yeah. I mean, it allows us to take our place in the world and start to see that where our field extends to and where it finishes. And we have a bubble around us, like the Zen bubble. And the more we work with the Zen bubble and the aspects of Qigong, it's almost like we are our bubble, and any chaos that comes at us is oil. And it's how permeable that outer shell is going to be. Is it going to roll off the outer shell, or is it going to come in and boom and hit us?
Right.
And the more we do this, the more that outside shell becomes strong, like an egg shell, and it doesn't have to come in. It can be around us, and we can choose to let that aspect in or not.
Well, and I feel like just even from myself with doing like the different movements, that then I will like think certain things too, like I'm bringing in light and I'm releasing what doesn't serve me. So does that like really, is that like you're dealing with putting in and taking out true like beliefs in your body?
Oh, most certainly. This torpid chi, or like a dark chi that exists in the body, that is what can get compressed and kind of packed down to create any kind of illness or disease or upset or pain in the body. And literally through the breath, we can expel that from the body, and with the intentional mind and working with the organs. It's very self-reverent. You learn about your organs, you learn about the interrelationship between the organs within the body, and you learn how to use the breath, which is breath of life. The breath just doesn't get enough attention in modern society, but it will.
Sitting here breathing.
Yeah, but it will. It most certainly will. And the more that we can master our own breath, the more connected, the more powerful we become with our own self-love and with love for others, because breath also connects us into compassion. And you go into feeling the breath of somebody else and understanding where their breath is. Is their breath shallow? Is their breath full? Is their breath joyful? Is their breath contracted? It really helps us to see who's in front of us.
Yeah, that's so good. I love that. Well, we could probably continue
Oh,
talking
wait,
for
no,
a long
yes.
time, but we can finish up here. Maybe we'll do another one.
Sounds great. I'd love to.
And maybe just do some movement stumps sometime.
Sure.
So tell us, like, how would you like people to be connected to you? What do you have going on that you would like to share?
I teach every Sunday morning from 10 to 11 in my garden. And if you're interested in participating in the class, you can reach out to me at my email, which is kellybrown3355@gmail.com. And I will put you on a special mailing list that gives you information about my Qigong classes.
Cool. That's great. And she's an amazing researcher, and I mean, just about the spirit realm and everything else too. So there's so much. So highly encourage you to stop at her shop, say hi.
295 Beverly Road.
There you go. And we'll put all that information in the video too. But thank you.
Thank
so
you,
much.
Diane.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yay. And thanks for checking in. Hope you have a great day.